Okay, so before we jump into our dashboard, actually, I just wanted to go over some of the stuff that we've done up until this point. So we've made 3 worksheets. The first was our profit and sales scatter plot with our profit margin legend here. And next we moved on to ranking our customers by sales and then getting to see our profit margin filter, or our legend rather, and then also adding in that rank. And lastly, we did our overview containing all of our measures, and we did some formatting. And yeah, so let's move on to now our dashboard. So if I go down here, instead of using our new worksheet button, we're going to use our new dashboard, right, to make our dashboard sheet. And so we're going to be using a tiled format, just as we have in previous dashboards. So we're first going to begin by dragging our customer scatter sheet onto the view. And next we're going to be adding our customer rank. So that's going to go just to the right of it. Excellent. And then we're going to add our customer overview up at the top, and that should cover completely horizontal right up at the top, right, because we want to make sure that it has enough horizontal space as possible. We can format it so that we just have enough space here, right, for all of our graphs. And what I'm actually going to do is and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change some of our names here, right? Because we have some of our titles, but we want them to be a little bit different in our dashboard. So if I click on Customer Scattered, I'm going to change this name to Sales and Profit per Customer. Right, this is going to describe our scatter plot, and then we're going to actually get rid of our title here on our customer overview, and then we're going to show our dashboard title here down at the bottom. Right, and our dashboard title, we are going to call this customer analysis. Alright, perfect. And then we can also change our worksheet name, or our dashboard worksheet name, to customer analysis as well. Perfect. So we've changed some of our names for our sheets on our dashboard. Maybe we'll make this a little bit smaller. Perfect. So now we have a little bit more space for both of our charts. And then what we're actually going to do is add some filters and also actions in our dashboard to add some more dynamic and interactive elements for our user. So currently we have our profit margin legend, which is what we want on our dashboard, but we also want to add some more filters. So to do this, I'm actually going to go back to one of our worksheets. So let's go to the scatter plot worksheet. And so once we're on our scatter plot worksheet, I'm actually going to drag some fields here from our data pane into our filters card. That way we can add them to our dashboard. So we want 3 filters. The first is going to be our order date. So if I drag order date into our filters card, I'll go next and I'll click OK. But instead of a continuous filter, I want it to be discrete. So I'm going to bring down the drop down menu, and I'm going to find the year for our date part, right? I'm going to select the year, and I want all years selected, and I'll click OK. Excellent. The next 2 are going to be category. So if I drag category over, I want all of our categories. Click OK. And lastly, I want segment. Make sure you have all the segments and click OK. Perfect. So now let's go back to our dashboard. And if we select on our scatter plot, we can bring down this drop down menu and find filters. And it allows us to add filters that are in reference to our scatter plot worksheet. So we want to add the order date. We want to add our segment. And lastly, we want to add our category filter. Okay, perfect. So now for our order date, we want this to actually show not like this, right? We want it to be a drop-down, but have a single selection for our year. So to do that, I'm going to bring down the drop-down menu when I have my order date filter selected. And instead of a multiple values list, we're going to do a single value drop-down. And to have more than 1 year selected, we're going to bring down the drop-down and select all. So now this should be just as we had it before, just configured a little bit differently. And we're going to want this to be the top filter. So if I can grab this filter, or maybe we'll start with profit margin, and we're going to drag it to the bottom. So this actually makes it easier for us by doing this, right? We have profit margin at the bottom, and we have our order date, our segment, our category filter at the top. So we have this set up the way we'd like, which is excellent. The last few finishing touches that we're going to add are our dashboard actions. So our filters give us some interactivity, right, based on a few of our selected worksheets. And so we can do this by going to our more options on our filter, and we can go to apply to worksheets, and we can do selected worksheets, and so we can choose all of our worksheets, right? And we can go OK. So we can do this for all of our filters. That way when we make a filter change, it will apply to every single worksheet on the dashboard, not just the scatter plot. So I'm going to finish up here. So that way when I change it to 2018, it changes all of the worksheets to 2018. So yes, we have our filters, but now we want to add actions, right? We want to give our end user the ability to interact with the dashboard and make the data a little bit more dynamic. So we're going to go to dashboard, the tool up at the top, and we're going to go actions. Okay, so the first action we're going to add is a filter action. So I'm going to click on filter, and I'm going to configure this so that our customer overview is our source sheet, right? Because this is where we want them to be interacting up here. And we're going to do when they select as the action. And the target sheets are going to be everything but the customer overview, right? It's going to be customer rank, customer scatter. We want to show all of our values. And for our source field, we're going to want to add by using our selected fields, and we want to add the region. Okay, so once we have this configured, we want to click OK. So now when I select one of my bars in a bar chart, once I do this, it's going to filter down to each of our worksheets below. And so now this gives the user, I'm going to click escape to get out of that, they can use this overview worksheet as the source for their filtering. Or they could always use the filters down here as well. But this gives them the interactivity, right? If they just want to see the south, now we get to see the south just right here. So excellent. I'm going to escape. The next action we're going to use, if we go back to dashboard actions, we're going to add another hover highlight action. So if we go to highlights, our source sheet is going to be our customer rank and our customer scatter. So we don't want the overview this time. And our target sheets are also going to be our customer rank and our customer scatter. So this filter is only going to be related to these two sheets. But instead of selecting, we just want our user to be able to hover over to run the action. And Lastly, we're going to do selected fields, which is our customer name. Perfect. So we're going to click OK. Click OK. So now when we hover over one of our customer ranks, it shows us exactly which circle on our scatter plot it is relating to. Right? This makes analyzing our scatter plots way easier, right? Especially when there's so many circles all jumbled up right here, and it brings us right to, which customer on the right hand side if we do the opposite, right? If we hover over a specific circle. So yeah, this is great. So now we have a lot of interactivity. The data is dynamic, a lot of ways to filter for our user. So we've successfully created our customer analysis dashboard. And so this wraps up our customer analysis dashboard. And so yeah, we've made all three worksheets and our dashboard. So this is going to wrap up our customer analysis dashboard. We learned a lot about sorting and formatting and also adding ranks to our worksheets. So a lot to take away from this dashboard, and make sure to continue watching our videos to learn more advanced concepts in Tableau using our sample workbook series.